They were energizing the inner part of the heart. The inner part of the heart is, where you where you build energy for all of the other dimensions, um, which we have already worked on. So if you haven't done those, I recommend doing those first, and then practicing this inner heart work. But this is where you really catapult your heart's power. So have a comfortable seat, sit up nice and tall, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths. You're welcome to put on some barely there relaxing music if you like for your background. But this explores your treasure of your heart energy. Your heart energy is ready to be drawn upon and respond to change or be drawn out into one of the other dimensions. Really kind of like the inner dimension of the heart is your inner wealth, your heart wealth, and it can be built up and it can be spent down just like a bank account. But unlike a bank account, the interest that you pay is the heart's energy that you've saved up and haven't used. So because your heart it's not a perfect container. Every heart has been wounded by life's adventures, let's say, and those can cause leaks, energy leaks. So sometimes, something happens and you feel tired. It can be just an energy leak in your heart. And this work here that we're doing kind of plugs those leaks. Or if there is a continuing leak, it restores that heart's energy. All right, so recharging your heart is what we're doing here, really. Optimism is in your heart's natural condition. It's a condition associated with the height of the heart, and each dimension has an effect on all the others. Where the inner dimension, if that's weak, all the dimensions of the heart are limited: the height, the depth, the width, and that forward thrust of the heart is also depleted. So if the heart is emptied out completely, optimism can kind of go by the wayside. All right. Empathy, tolerance, initiative. Those are some of the qualities of the heart that we've been working on. Your emotional heart might have developed some deadened parts like scar tissue in the physical heart. Sometimes we can lose sensations or feelings. Those are hard to find because there's no longer this absence of what was once felt or what other people still feel. So sometimes we forget all of the sensations and feelings of the heart. But by restoring this and energizing this inner part of your heart, this energy, you come in contact with those feelings and sensations again. And I know you found ways to recharge your heart. Maybe when you feel depleted, you read a book, take a long bath, go out in nature for a hike, or maybe you get together with a friend and just talk and whatever. Some people find refuge in exercise, yoga. Maybe you go out and shoot some hoops, go out for a run. I know a lot of runners are like, that's my mental health right there. Maybe you go for a swim, something that like physically pumps energy into your heart. And that can be a very efficient and effective method for recharging your heart. When your heart is energized, your inner wealth is great. And your home is where your treasure is. So today we're going to work on the expanding breath. First, just get present to your breath. And we're going to be coordinating the heartbeat and the breath, like usual. So begin to take full inhalations and full exhalations, feeling your heartbeat and breathing through your breath. So the period of stillness in your breath cycle, we're going to make that longer than the inhale. For example, the holding will be in longer than the inhale, longer than the exhale in this particular breath. So while your breath is held in your heart is focused and forced to expand energetically. But in this breath cycle, we're never going to pause after the exhalation when you're out of breath. We're only going to pause when you're full of breath. We're going to hold that life energy in your heart and cherish it there as you feel the thumping of your heart. And then we're going to give it all away. And as you breathe out, and as you receive new life, you breathe in again. So here's the breath. First, get present to your heartbeat. And as in all of our other heart rhythm meditations, we inhaled for 6 breaths and we exhaled for 6 breaths. So if that rhythm works for you, I highly recommend starting with the 6 breaths in and 6 breaths out. Now, as you find an exhale, exhale for 6 and then inhale for 6 and hold for 12. This means that if you breathe in all the way, there may be a struggle. So I highly recommend that you softly breathe in and try not to gasp for air as you breathe in. Just breathe into about 80% and hold. If this breath pattern is a little difficult for you today, we don't want to over challenge your breath. So maybe make it 4 on the exhale, 4 on the inhale, and 8 on the hold. That would be a way to change it. Or 5 on the exhale, 5 on the inhale, 10 for the hold. And those are heartbeats you're counting. So if you're not aware of your heartbeat right now, it's difficult to find your heartbeat, take an inhale and then hold the breath in, and you'll start to feel the thump of the heart here. By using this clock of your heartbeat, your breath will become more stable and regular than ever before, as your heartbeat will too. It's interesting because when you put someone on the EKG machine doing these breath patterns, it kind of looks like the stock market usually. There are peaks and valleys and a lot of spiky movements. But when you're in heart rhythm meditation, the ebbs and flows are perfectly round at the top and perfectly round at the bottom. It looks kind of like consistent bubble letters in a way, but it's very consistent. Difficulty in holding the breath usually is due to not breathing out enough. The principle is the longer you breathe out, the longer you can hold your in-breath. So if you're kind of working with this breath, this is probably the most challenging breath that we've done. So if you're having a challenge here, spend more time on the exhalation which means you'll have to spend more time on the inhalation. But again, inhale, but not all the way. And then hold. Six out, or whatever number you've chosen. 6 in. 12 for the hold. Or 5 for the out breath. 5 for the in breath. 10 for the hold. This expanding breath guarantees that the exhalation is complete, because if it isn't, you can't maintain that square breath pattern. And the square comes from 2 holds, the exhale, the inhale, 2 holds. So it's not quite box breathing, but it does form a box, just holding differently. This takes practice to learn. And it's not surprising that if it's hard physically or mentally or emotionally, there's a reason why we learn to breathe shallowly. It's a defense mechanism. And as you push through that last little bit of held breath at the end of the exhalation, like you squeeze your gut just a little bit, your resistance goes up quickly. It's the same feeling we get when we feel overwhelmed or defenseless. That last little bit of breath is a buffer between you and your ultimate fear. When you release the breath, you confront your vulnerability. And by finishing this exhalation, you're building up your faith. It's an amazing claim, but the faith allows you to go to that point of no breath, when you're completely dependent on your next inhalation without reserve. So this simple little practice, this expanding breath, is so technical, but really it's all about your heart's condition. So if you have a pain in your heart, conscious or unconscious, that may surface and disrupt your breath rhythm. It's nothing to be scared of, but that can happen. By watching your breath, you'll observe this change, and this will alert you to emotion. But here is where you get to clear the emotion of that too. Consciousness about your emotions can be harnessed here in this breath. And if you're conscious of them, then you don't have to act them out. But unconscious emotions, they have to be acted out. So sometimes if your behavior is like, oh man, why did I do that? Sometimes this is unconscious pain in the heart. It can come from there. So keep breathing in this way. And I'm going to read a little bit about the depth of the heart. As we learn about all these different dimensions of the heart, we strengthen the energy there, and we expand the energy in our hearts. And this is a physical practice, this is an emotional practice, and it's a spiritual practice, all at the same time. These 3 hearts can't be separated, so they all get the benefit. A heart that's blocked becomes unaware of its inherent power, and it feels that there's nothing to do. This isn't humility, it's a weakness, and the heart that's blocked can't express itself or satisfy its desires. The human heart contains the greatest power on earth. It can potentially operate the universe to create the conditions and experiences that it needs. But when blocked, the energy of the heart can't project into the world. A blocked heart can cause you to retreat from the engagement of life. You might be among others and busy with tasks all day long, but your heart will be in retreat and unable to share yourself, to help others, to take initiative when you really want to. You can become frustrated and complain. So these are signs that there are blocks in the heart. And again, it's nothing to be worried about. This work helps unblock the heart. So keep breathing with me. When you're not successful, you blame your failures on circumstances, maybe other people. And the very tendency to blame and criticize is a sign of a blocked heart. So that's something else to look for too. When you feel yourself criticizing and blaming, maybe do a little breathing with your heart and notice if a consistent practice, and it's cumulative too. So if you do this one time, that's fantastic. You may feel amazing. When you come back and do it again, your heart grows each time and unblocks more. So then you become this very open-hearted person. And what is that saying? They say your mouth is halfway between your head and your heart. Which one are you speaking from? You'll be able to speak more from your heart. A blocked heart can be energized to its natural forward direction by concentrating on something you love and maybe being in a supportive environment. Every heart has a strong desire to find it, and the forward power of your heart will return. The desire might begin with a very personal or even selfish wish. No matter what, that's your heart's desire. Your desire will progress to become generous and grand as the forward dimension of your heart develops. So if you believe that your desires are selfish, start there. And it's going to develop into something even more generous eventually. And it's not wrong to desire for yourself. The blocked heart can also be helped by feeling a hand on the back of your heart, like the expression, a pat on the back. There's a point in the back of your heart that receives energy. This is symbolized by the indentation at the top of that classic heart image, like that Valentine heart, right? That little dimple in the top of the heart. That's the aerial view, a very structured aerial view of your heart. And that back little dimple is in the back of the heart. So when someone you love puts their hand on the back of your heart and you relax, that's that little bit. To correspond your energy pattern, the breath, the image should be laid flat and turned around so the indentation is at the back. That little point is in the front, and that's what we call the forward thrust of the heart, is that bottom point of the Valentine heart. A person's hand, especially their right hand, carries the energy of their heart. So when their hand is placed on your back, you receive their heart energy directly into your heart. Isn't that cool? This can also be done with words of praise and respect. Those who receive praise feel empowered to extend their hearts forward. This is why our method of recognizing a person's greatness is so important. So when you compliment people and you compliment them on kind of like the inner more than the outer, like, oh, your hair looks really great today. But if you compliment on someone about their energy or praise them, recognize their abilities, that's when their heart receives that and becomes an empowered heart. And if you practice that, it's amazing, but you get empowered yourself too. So this inner dimension of the heart, when it's full, all of those dimensions that we've previously been working on, the height and the depth, the width, right and left, and the front and back of the heart. Those all contain this energy, and this inner dimension powers all those other dimensions. The full heart becomes radiant and glowing from within. It creates a quiet self-confidence and a sense of freedom. With a full heart, you're always at home. You're harmonized with your surroundings and the people that you're with. You're in touch with your emotions, desires, and the lifelong wish of your heart. Silence is your friend. Being alone is always welcome. Nature is natural, and nature is everywhere that you are. Whenever you go, you are aware of representing a great principle or a great person, yourself. So keep breathing. 6 heartbeats out, 6 heartbeats in, 12 heartbeats hold, or whatever numbers you've chosen. When you connect with other people, you connect through your heart. So it's in one's heart that one feels interconnection with all people, like water lilies that appear to be separate plants on the surface of the lake, but the shoots of which are all one plant underneath the water. The mind is best at distinguishing differences and perceiving separateness, while the heart loses distinctions in feeling the whole. The mind always does analysis, separating something, putting them into categories, making them neat in order to understand them. While the heart does synthesis, which is combining things with its context or environment in order to understand the entirety. So this is where we begin to connect with humanity. Humanity as a whole. The heart's contribution to life is enriching. It is the source of all pain and all the joy. The mind observes, the heart experiences. The mind can be above everything, but the heart is part of everything. So again, when you speak, are you speaking from your head where the separateness is or are you speaking from the heart where you are part of everything and everyone's heart is part of the one heart? So take one more deep breath. If you'd like to continue your heart rhythm meditation, you are more than welcome to sit and enjoy your heart, feeling the energy, feeling the swell of the heart. You know, the heart is the one and only area of the body where they've never found cancer. And it's because of this electromagnetic pulse. And right now, you are completely present to this electromagnetic pulse. Allow that pulse to reverberate through your entire body. Connect with your heart. Sometimes it can feel vulnerable, but it is the spot. It is the thing to connect with. And you experience pain here, but you also can experience the most magnificent joy. And so that's my wish for you, is that you get to feel all of it, all of the joy that you possibly can feel. And to experience yourself be feeling whole and complete and a part of the humanity, the great humanity. And that you feel happy and fulfilled. Energizing your heart can have you feel fulfilled as you carry out your heart's desires. And as you make a difference with every person you come in contact with. As always, it's an absolute pleasure. If you wish to come out of your meditation now, take a nice deep inhale and a deep exhale and blink your eyes open. It's always a pleasure being with you. Till next time.